Hello everyone, welcome to Bird Explored series. So we had a break actually, but we came back. So no problem. So today we are talking about kiwis. Peter and I again a nice presentation for you, and we will talk about very interesting bird, actually bizarre bird, but beautiful bird. And the birds are bizarre and also beautiful. So anyway, where is Peter? Here is Peter.
Hi, Urku.
Hello, my lord.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay.
My good lord.
Oh, geez. Yes, yes. You may rise.
So we came back since we talked about the last episode, the woodpeckers. Then we had a break, but
Yep.
we came back, no problem. I mean, today we are gonna talk about kiwis. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this
Yeah. It's a strange little bird.
strange bird, and you suggested me kiwis. So I mean, yeah, I'm so happy to talk about the kiwis. So we have presentation, but I'm gonna leave the first word to you. Would you like to say something about kiwis? Because
Yeah.
maybe
Just give it. Yeah. I'll just give a little bit of an overview, but we're gonna hit on some of these things again as we do the slide presentation. But yeah, kiwis. It's a lot like I get questions about kiwis and I get questions about penguins sometimes too, because they almost don't look like birds to a lot of people. People that don't even kind of look deeply at stuff, but they'll say, "Oh, penguins are birds," and "Oh, kiwis are birds," because kiwis and penguins to some extent, it looks like they have hair. That the feathers are so modified that it can look more like a mammal, like some kind of a covering of fur or hair. So sometimes people are like, "Oh, I didn't know kiwis were birds." So of course they are, and we'll as you'll see, they're sort of restricted to a certain part of the world, and they've got some really interesting taxonomic, systematic connections with other birds, and some really really neat anatomical modifications. So I'll leave it at that, and we can go from there.
okay. So before I forget,
Hmm.
so I want to say something different, not about kiwis, but
Hmm.
for the audience, I just want to inform them we are going to start um, some new process, and we are gonna ask some support from them. It's
Hmm.
gonna be the subscription process. We are gonna write. Peter and I try to write something every week, hopefully. So about Earth and natural history. So I will actually announce the title and everything we are discussing right now. Then we are gonna ask maybe a little bit support from the audience to continue this Birds Explored series and also some extra materials.
Hmm.
So we really enjoy this voluntary work, but it would be nice to get something and then we probably get more encouragement.
Yeah.
Well, so this is little announcement. Then I'm gonna take um, our presentation.
There you go.
Here we are. Look at this. This is bird. So Peter, I visited at the beginning. I said bizarre and beautiful.
Yeah.
So Natural History Museum here in London,
Hmm.
so has a exhibition, special exhibition, birds. They actually recently started. So they said birds bizarre and beautiful.
Hmm.
I mean, it is very nice arrangement. I saw very interesting information actually. Some of them I didn't know,
Hmm.
especially the hummingbirds. Hummingbirds' heartbeats, I mean, reach 1,260
Yeah.
per minute.
Yeah. It's insane. And yeah, and their wing beats too is some crazy crazy number. Yeah.
Right. And
Um,
today in the presentation, kiwis, we have a slide. I mean, the egg size.
yeah.
So it is also bizarre.
Yeah. Well, well, we call it. Well, they're certainly beautiful. They're kind of cute, actually.
yeah,
but
definitely. No, I said
but
bizarre, but in a different
no, I
way.
know, I know what you mean. It's but you know, they have evolved the way they've evolved. Yeah, bizarre. I guess if you're another Kiwi, you're not bizarre to another Kiwi.
Right.
But that's just human beings. Ah, bizarre and beautiful. The reason we do that is because both bizarre and beautiful begin with a B. So it's.
Right.
But
I agree.
this
So
is kind of cool. Did you do this Guardians of New Zealand's Night? Is that your thing?
yeah, I just try to. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah,
I just try to find a good title, the unique word of Kiwis, Guardians of New Zealand, because they only occurs in New Zealand.
right. And are they guardians?
Are they well, they are not guardians, but looks like a
Sure
guardian.
they are. Why not? Yeah.
Okay, so this is the title. So I like the title, Guardians of New Zealand's Night. So
Yeah, and you can get
because
a
they're active in night,
yeah. They're nocturnal birds. Very very cool. And you
right?
can see this slide here shows you sort of a quick shot of a kiwi. I don't know which species that is. I guess there's 5 species that will
Yeah,
go over.
definitely.
Hmm.
Not much species actually. So not
Hmm.
many species in Kiwis, but one of them. So we will talk about them.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna move to first
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just
Good.
a little introduction about New Zealand because it's an important biogeographical region.
Hmm.
I mean, a big island. So also the global biodiversity hotspot. There are lots of endemic. I mean, Kiwi is the endemic. So if
Yeah.
they gonna extinct at some point, so they are not distributed anywhere else. So
Right.
we are gonna lose them. So they have little distribution over there. And then I just put some information here about biodiversity hotspot characteristics for New Zealand,
And
and
so
also
New
yeah,
yeah. So New Zealand, of course, is made up of 2 islands: North Island and South Island.
right. There
Um,
is a breakdown. There
and
is a break between them.
and Kiwis occur on both islands.
That's true.
Hmm.
And it is a, I mean, long geographic isolation we can talk about for New Zealand.
Right.
So, and all these birds over there, it's interesting, and also the biodiversity elements, not only the birds, but also the other animals.
Sure.
So, have different evolutionary story. So, biogeographic story. So, I mean, if our audience wants to get inside of New Zealand, they can look it up. But I just want to give short introduction for this slide.
Yeah, I think New Zealand has, in recent decades, become a real hotspot for people to visit. There's different kinds of biotourism and uh, cultural tourism and that sort of thing.
Right. And also, I just want to say the Kia. So the
Right.
another bird. Yeah, I mean, it is also interesting.
Right.
So
Did we mention that bird in another podcast with parrots?
Kia,
Uh, Kia's not, Kia's not a parrot, right? It's
no,
a
not a parrot.
no,
No, we
no,
didn't talk about this, but
no.
we can talk about later.
Yeah, no. I was thinking
Not
of
not
another
this
bird.
this episode, and maybe another
Right.
episode. So yeah.
Right. Yep.
So okay. So I'm not gonna read everything, but people can read it if they want, and I'm gonna move to the first species. So the North Island brown kiwi,
Yeah.
Ophiuchus mantelli.
Yep.
And this is the most widespread and common one, but found on the North Island. Not very common. I mean, not on the both side of the New
Yeah.
Zealand, but only the
Yeah.
North Island.
North
But
Island. Right.
most common and visible one, I think, in the night.
Right.
So, would you like to say something about this?
Yeah. So right, a little bit of taxonomy here. Maybe the Kiwis are in the order Apterigiformes and the family Apterigidae.
Right.
And here's the genus Apteryx. And essentially, that word means no wing. And you'll notice that the kiwi, it's got hind legs. You can see it walking around on its hind legs. But for a bird, its wings are conspicuously absent. And we can talk more about that. But that's what their ordinal and family and generic names mean no wing, lacking a wing. So we can maybe show that in some of the other slides as well. And I don't know, maybe you could talk about, if you know, Utku, what we think about the evolution of the kiwi on those islands. Do you think the brown kiwi was sort of the first one? Everything else is derived from that? I don't know.
Well, it's a good question. So I didn't check the phylogeny
Yeah.
for kiwis.
Yeah.
But I think one of the island, I think the North Island is the ancient place for
Right.
kiwis,
Yeah,
as
we
far
think
as
so.
I know.
Right.
So maybe this bird, well, actually the kiwis close to the basal for the avian evolution, right?
Right. Right.
So like,
and I think some work has shown that I may get this wrong. They're closely related to the elephant bird, more so than the moa. I can check that. Let me take a look at something real quick, if you don't mind.
of course, yeah, please.
Um,
Because I couldn't exactly remember, but I can also check
mhm.
something.
Closest current DNA studies. Closest relative is the elephant bird from Madagascar.
Right. I mean, it's, well, the evolution of birds, I mean, really go far past.
Mm-hmm.
So the Australia in general very important for the passerine diversification.
Oh yeah, right.
As far as I remember.
Right.
So the New Zealand used to be the part of the probably the Australia.
Yeah.
So and then they just separated the Kiwis. I mean, stuck over there,
Mm-hmm.
and they got some diversification. I mean, the this one, the North Island brown kiwi, as far as I know, the ancient, well, not the ancient, but the basal one.
Basal, sure. Yeah. Yeah. The Paleognathus birds. So they're also ratites, meaning that they have a flat sternum,
Right.
like ostriches and rheas and moas, and the elephant birds. You know, they're all sort of in there. So yeah, early ornithologists classified birds based on the structure of their jaws. And the older birds were these Paleognathus birds, old jawed birds. And so that's one big group of birds. And then you've got geese and ducks. And then you've got everything else, the Neonathus birds with new jaws. So kiwi, they've been around a while apparently, and are in that group of Paleognathus birds.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna move to second one.
Yeah. Oh, look at that one.
Another bizarre.
Yeah, Ocarito.
It's a kiwi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apteryx story. So you said the Apteryx there is no wing.
Right. Yeah. And look at that. It's restricted to a particular forest.
And then critically endangered because of this forest stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Only one forest we can see, and it's very important. It is critically endangered. Well, I think the New Zealand good enough for the protection of the wildlife.
Yeah, they do a good job over there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they are very careful as far as I know.
Right.
But still, this species is critically endangered. I hope it's not going to be extinct.
Right. Yeah, well, part of the problem, of course, is, again, we could talk about later on, but these island forms, often if they evolve without predators, they wind up being completely terrestrial, flightless. And, that's fine as long as they're left alone. But like so many other stories, get introduced cats and rats and pigs and, animals like that can easily catch these flightless birds. You can see on this picture here, though, that this neat kind of feathers these kiwis have, kind of long, long feathers, kind of pointed at the end. The veins of the feather, the barbules and barbicules, the substructures, they don't stick together like something like a pigeon feather. They're kind of loose, so that makes it look like he's covered with hair and a long beak.
It's long beak. I mean, they look like small mammals.
Yeah,
especially in the night.
Right. Yeah. So then Yeah, so they're nocturnal. They've got those feathers. They wander around the beaches at night, the shoreline sometimes, and yeah, looks like some kind of raccoon.
And then southern brown kiwi
Yeah,
found on the South Island and another island, Stewart Island.
yeah,
So it's not a critically endangered like before
right.
previous species, but
Yeah,
this is also they're all looks like the same. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know
Well,
the
it's
size
well, it's
differences. Is
the
there
size
any size
differences.
differences between them?
Yeah, I think the northern and the southern brown kiwis are largest birds. Like a maybe like a hen, a small hen.
Hmm.
And then some of the other ones we'll look at, I think, are smaller than that. You get
Right.
a good look at the feet here. You can see they have a anisodactyl toe arrangement. There's 3 toes in the front, and there is a small hallux in the back. So unlike some of its other rat-type relatives, like ostriches, just have 2 toes, and some only have 3 toes. But the kiwis have 4.
Right.
Good, and it's kind of flat-footed, very good for walking around on the flat surfaces of the ground. They're not they're not up in the trees. They're not sitting on branches. You know, maybe I don't know enough about their ecology. Maybe they do go up into shrubs or things like that. But I think they're pretty much terrestrial birds.
Right.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah,
little
yeah.
spotted kiwi, I couldn't find exactly the picture, but
That's all right. So yeah, I think this is a yeah. They say it's the
this one, the
smallest one.
smallest one. So there's a
Yeah,
size difference between them.
sure.
So,
Well,
and
that's
then,
it.
yeah,
Interesting. I mean, the plumage is a little different. Um,
yeah, yeah.
some striations, and you can also see something that all the kiwis have in this illustration, and that's the rictal bristles. These very long
I
hair-like
was going to ask
feathers.
you. Yeah,
Yep, hair-like feathers around the mouth and the base of the bill, and I guess we can refer to those as vibrissae or whiskers or rictal bristles. And kiwis, as you know, are nocturnal and they're wandering around at night looking for food. And because it's can be dark, especially if they're in some shrubbery or if they're down low to the ground. Those rictal bristles apparently are very sensitive to touch, so
yeah,
they can feel their way around. I guess a lot like a cat can do
yeah.
in a place where it's low light. And I did not research much about their eyesight. Um, most birds have very good eyesight, but maybe kiwis not so much. As much as other birds, certainly as a diurnal bird. That'd be interesting to look into. I'm curious now whether they see color or not. You know, because low level light is it's better if there are more rod cells like an owl.
Right.
Um, and another thing you see on here, of course, is the long beak,
Yeah,
and
the long beak. Yeah,
we'll see later on that the nostrils are at the tip of the bill. They're distal.
right.
They're not proximal to the head like most birds. And might as well mention it now. Kiwis, unlike other birds, do have a very good olfactory sense, a good sense of smell.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the another species, great
Okay,
spot,
so there's the largest one. Okay.
the
Yeah.
largest one. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
look at this plumage
Yeah.
pattern. I mean, it's different than the others, especially the first ones.
Yeah. We have specimens of kiwi skins here at the American Museum, and you know, I'm going to think we have all of the forms, but maybe not. We may be lacking material with some of those rarer ones.
I mean, I never check these specimens. I mean, it's very interesting
Yeah,
specimen.
I've seen them, but I just don't remember. I know we have the common ones, the North Island,
Right.
yeah, the browns and all that. But some of these rarer ones we may actually not have, or if we do, they may very well be in the rare bird room. Maybe we have
Right.
one. You know,
We checked before. I mean, together the rare bird room, but I couldn't remember the kiwis there.
I don't remember, but that's where they'd be if some of those really
Right.
rare ones. Right.
So I'm gonna talk about the unique characteristics of
Mm-hmm.
kiwis and their flightless nature and small
Mm-hmm.
wings or no wings.
Mm.
So adaptations for nocturnal life, it's important,
Yeah.
and and also unusually large eggs compared to body size. I just
Right.
want to underline this point because
Yeah.
it is very interesting for me.
It's
So
amazing the reproductive biology and the nature of the egg.
Right.
So yeah, so you've got, I guess, yeah, there's 3 different species there. There you go.
Look at this. I mean, the slide is
That's
little
all right.
shift here, but that's fine, I think, because, well, it was originally good, but
Yeah,
when we
that's fine.
upload to the platform. So, I mean, this is extraordinary reproductive adaptation. Look at the egg size and look at the body size and
Yeah,
look at the skeletal adaptations for this
right,
egg.
right. So fortunately, they just lay 1 egg, and
Oh, yeah, of
and and
course.
and 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 fortunately, it's egg shaped. It's not square, you know.
Right.
And I have friends who worked in zoological parks, and they know a little bit about kiwis. And when the female's ready to lay this big egg, she kind of, I mean, it's kind of uncomfortable looking. The bird just kind of lays on its side. You know, it's a to get that egg, uh, you know, a fully formed egg with the full shell on it out the cloaca of the bird is takes time, and
Right. That's true.
you know, it has to be pushed out by the bird. So
Right.
yeah, it's 20% of the female's body weight uh, could be taken up by the egg. Yeah.
So I just put these slides. Maybe we can talk about little bit the ecological role and behavior
Yeah. Yeah.
in Kiwis, so that they are, sorry, ground dwelling and burrowing behavior
Yeah,
and their
so that
diet.
that make the whiskers, the rectal bristles make sense. You know, if they're in burrows, of course.
Right, and also their diet, mostly the invertebrates and small vertebrates and some fruits, actually the fallen fruits, because they can't fly.
Right.
And then as a nocturnal foragers, I mean, based on their behaviors, they try to help the maintain the ecosystem balance. Maybe we can a little bit talk about this.
Yeah. Could we, before we do that, could we go back to the last slide quick?
Of
The
course,
the
yeah.
egg. Yeah, I just wanted to show the audience. So you see, you can see the femur, the big upper leg bone.
Yeah,
So if you just follow that from the front of that bone towards the rib cage,
right.
you'll notice that the wing bones are virtually absent. And there's a tiny little humerus
Oh,
there.
yes, that's
Yeah,
true. I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really
yeah.
absent. I mean, look at the
Right,
evolution. Yeah,
right. So you don't see anything from the outside really. It's very,
right.
very, very small.
Tiny.
When all the feathers are down, it looks like it has no wings. And indeed, the skeletal elements are much reduced. I was going to mention that before. I
Look
just
like just can attach to only one feather, like
Yeah,
Aluga. I mean, it's a
yeah,
tiny.
yeah. I think it's the humerus. I think it's the
Right.
yeah, yeah. So yeah. Anyway,
Okay, so we were talking about the ecosystem balance. So I think they are really helping because they really active in the nighttime.
hmm
So they are definitely different. I mean, different role the other birds, because most birds active in the daytime.
hmm
So it's very important New Zealand ecosystem. They are trying to make a balance.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
in
I don't
terms,
know. I don't
yeah,
know what their diurnal equivalent is. You know, if you talk about like hawks and owls, um, you know, you get the daytime, the big hawks, and then at night some of these big owls come out. So
right.
they're not competing with each other necessarily. Maybe eating different things. Some eating nocturnal prey, others are eating diurnal prey. Um, as it says, their diet's pretty varied. So, and I don't know this for sure, but it would be interesting to find out if the Kiwis, some of their ecological equivalents, the daytime and at nighttime, maybe are some small mammals as opposed to birds.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
just
definitely they have some role for the ecosystem, and New Zealand is definitely different kind of ecosystem
mhm,
because they have kiwis. I mean,
yeah,
nowhere
yeah,
else has kiwis in the world.
yeah, yeah. There's no Kiwis on Staten Island, New York.
Yeah, definitely. So that makes a big difference in a biogeographical.
But one has to think, maybe somewhat similar to rails, things
Right.
like that in other places, just, A lot of rails are nocturnal.
Right.
So I'm just thinking that maybe there's some similar functions
Right.
ecologically. Yeah.
So before the last slide, I
Mm-hmm.
just want to put something about conservation status
Mm.
and threats. So again, for the most of the birds, the habitat loss due to deforestation and human activities is an important point for the
Mm-hmm.
birds. And some predators, I mean,
Yeah.
these
Introduced stuff. Yeah.
introduce some small mammals like
Mm-hmm.
predators. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they are leaving the island, big island, New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
So we can maybe remind the audience the dodo story.
Yeah. Right.
So it's kind of same kind of story,
Sure.
and but there are some critically endangered species in kiwis, but not all of them, fortunately. But
Mm-hmm.
the predators also has some role for these threats.
Yeah.
And also the rise of the dairy farming industry and farming also
Yeah.
affect the kiwis. And I couldn't find a well. We always talk about all these scientists right now talk about climate change affect the birds.
Mm.
So we know some effect, the distribution effect, and I mean, in the past and in the future, there are
Mm-hmm.
gonna some effect based on the global warming. But I couldn't find something for kiwis. But the main threats, habitat loss, deforestation, predators, and farming.
Yeah. Now, is New Zealand? Am I right? New Zealand's kind of famous for sheep farming. Is that right?
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
think
right.
so.
Yeah. Right. So these, I guess, pastures and places that are opened up probably aren't very good places for kiwis to exist.
Right.
Um, I guess they seem to be kind of secretive, not just nocturnal, but they're in burrows and probably kind of quiet. Might as well tell the audience, you can look for kiwi on YouTube, and there are all kinds of great films,
Yeah,
video of them at night, on beaches and
true.
probing into the ground and using their sense of smell and maybe that sensitive tip of the beak to find um, invertebrates in the sand and soil. So
And Peter, look at the bill here.
yeah, right.
It's
Yeah, the nostrils at the tip. It's strange.
yeah,
I when I teach my ornithology classes, we go over the orders and families of birds, and kiwis are one of the first things we look at. And in some of these specimens that we have, you can see that it's really sort of strange at the tip. The nostrils are all the way out there.
right.
Yeah.
So the last slide, future of kiwi populations. I mean, due to habitat loss and predators, kiwi bird populations in New Zealand are becoming more fewer in number. I mean, scattered and fewer. This makes it harder for them to breed. So it is some threat. And then it slows down their population growth even more.
I
So
guess I guess some of the things that happen with scattered populations is you wind up with these populations that are isolated from one another, and then the inbreeding
yeah,
becomes a
distribution
problem. Yeah,
is
right.
affected.
So I would suspect that some of the conservation protocol in New Zealand is to maybe take birds from one group and put them with the others to keep the genes flowing through um,
Right.
different populations. Because I'm thinking of some other sort of like Australian animals and other animals on those islands, like um, oh gosh, the name escapes me now. Not wombats, but maybe wombats, but Tasmanian devils,
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, these
Yeah.
the populations are so genetically homologous, homogeneous that you know they're it's really bad. There's no new genetic
No,
influences.
no. The
Yeah, yeah,
genetic they lose the genetic diversity and
yeah.
they cannot adapt. I
Right.
mean, I mean habitat change,
Yeah.
any problems they cannot adapt and they can easily be extinct.
Yeah.
So this is the important point that you raise, the inbreeding stuff.
Hmm.
So the scattered populations always affect the population, that species health. So I mean, this is the last slide.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. So it's another episode. We talked about kiwis.
Yeah, it's a neat bird.
Yeah, and if it's fine for you for the website, I mean, I talked about writing, so we
Hmm.
can talk about write something about kiwis. The first
Sure.
thing I mean, working on this text, but it's not complete. But I'm gonna
Mhm.
send it to you. We can
Yeah.
work on it, and you can polish up. Then we can start the first writing with kiwis, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell again.
And
So
I think we can branch out maybe into other topics. Not just birds. We can start talking about other vertebrates. We could talk about
I mean,
um,
actually, we
anything.
should just talk about something also natural history and
Sure.
nature and history. It's a two different component. It's very important.
Yeah.
And here in England, I mean, I was talking about this topic with the different people, different scientists, and they
Hmm.
also agree with us. I mean, natural and history, and they both should come together,
Right.
and it's important for the preserving the nature and for the future. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's got to be the information's got to be archived in different ways so that it's available to people later on who need to be able to look at these things long after
right?
we're finished with our
That's
work.
that's true.
And so I guess the thing to I just want to sort of drive it home. So we will keep doing birds explored. We'll do bird groups, and then
Of
in
course,
this other thing that we do, this other adventure, it might be birds, but it might be something else.
right,
So
right.
yeah,
That's true.
that'll be
I
fun.
mean, okay, so it's end of the episode. Thanks, Peter,
Thanks, Utku.
and hopefully we will meet again.
We
Not
will.
very long, and we will
I
definitely meet again soon.
Yes, I'd like to uh, tell the folks that hopefully the next episode will be about the owls.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So let's try to
Yeah.
encourage George Dante. I
Yes,
mentioned the name.
that's fine. Maybe that'll make him. He's very busy. George is an integral part of our owl podcast, and he's been busy. So that's what that's all about.
Okay,
Nothing sinister going on. Just
not really push
yeah.
him, but we are gonna encourage him.
Not push him, but push him. Yeah,
Push him, encourage.
yeah,
Okay.
encourage. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks,
All
Peter.
right. We'll see you
See you.
soon.
See you next time. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.